Hey, welcome to the Ready to Lose podcast, where we look at what's going on in our brains to create the health and weight loss that we want. My name's Billy Blake, and I'm a certified life and weight loss coach determined to help women love themselves all the way to their goal. It's time to start losing weight in a way that actually feels like us and creating that healthy life that we love showing up for every single day. So tell me, are you ready to lose? Let's go. Hey, ready babes. Welcome back to the podcast where we are talking about weight loss and food in a totally different way. We're looking at our goals in a totally different way. So what I've been doing lately is I've actually been listening to one of my old coaches and their old podcast episodes while I work out at the gym in the morning. For a while, I was listening to audiobooks. I will tell you, I never listen to music. I am a weirdo like that. I know. You can judge me. It's okay. Yeah, I was listening to audiobooks, but I was listening to fun ones and fun podcasts, like true crime podcasts, romantasy books. By the way, I am so excited that there are going to be 2 new ACOTAR books coming in the next year, okay? But I'm listening to romantasy, some thriller audiobooks, just fun, lighthearted things that were entertaining, making the gym more fun, which a big part of me is all for. But while we were in North Carolina, I got back into listening to some self-development podcasts. And I know why I stopped doing this, okay? So I was thinking about it because even sometimes some of y'all will ask me, what are your favorite podcasts? What do you listen to? And I really stopped listening to self-development podcasts because when I got into creating my own podcast, it kind of felt harder to listen to other self-development or weight loss or health podcasts. Not because the content wasn't great, because it is. There's so many great podcasters out there and so much great content. Even my coaches, the people who helped me change my life, I stopped listening to their stuff too. But it was when I was so new podcasting, I would immediately get into comparison mode. Now that I was also doing a podcast, I would compare myself. I didn't feel confident as a podcaster or in my own content or my ability to do this work at that time. I feel totally different now, but at that time, I really stopped enjoying podcasts as much, right? Because it kind of some people, sometimes you get on social media and depending on who you're following, you just start comparing. So I was doing that with podcasting. So I actually stopped listening for a while. But while we were in North Carolina, living our little beach life and our little beach town for a month, I got back into listening to my own coaches and their content again. Old stuff, new stuff. And a weird side effect I noticed while doing this was that I started pushing myself harder in the gym. Nothing crazy, okay? It wasn't I was going up, I got all PRs with my lifts, nothing like that. But I did notice that I would push myself to failure more often. Or I did pick up the heavier weight just to see if I could do it. And I know that it was because of the switch. I remember specifically at one point I was doing lat pull downs, okay? And I was listening to my coach and she's like, you're capable of hard things. And, she's talking about it with, I think, business or other goals. But I was like, yeah, I am capable. And I remember increasing the weight and challenging myself to do it. Anyway, specifically though, the podcast that I really started listening to on repeat was the Life Coach School podcast. And by the way, the Life Coach School is where I got certified as a life coach. Truly the best coaching tools out there, in my opinion. I started re-listening though. I started re-listening to these past episodes, and while Brooke Castillo was telling me I was capable of doing hard things and changing my life, it motivated me to do the same thing with my exercise. In that moment, I could do something like that. So I did. But it really challenged me to see myself in a new way and see successful people in a new way as well. People who have a result that I want or have created something that I want to create. For example, when I see someone showing up on social media and I love their posts, the content they're creating, I start saving them, right? For ideas, or I start following them to analyze what they're doing that is so good, that I like so much, that is different than what I'm doing. Sometimes I do have the thought, I start thinking things like, they're just better at it. They're more attractive than me. They know something or they learned something that I didn't. They have something that I don't have, right? Or sometimes I think it's just because they're better than me. or they have a natural gift for storytelling and engaging with people that I lack. But I followed them anyway, right? So I'm following them and I'm like, this is so good. Like, what's wrong with me? That kind of thing. So I save the post and then I maybe grab their free guide, or I try to replicate the things they are doing on social media. I'm like, that's a good hook. Let me use that exact hook. I try to grab onto the how of how they're doing it, right? Like the actions, they're doing this. Let me try to do that exact same thing. And it doesn't work. It does not work, y'all, because that is the wrong thing to focus on. Successful people are just like you and me. They are just humans. Okay, all of us are just humans. They might have different privileges or life experiences, but underneath it all, they are still just humans with human brains. And when it comes to social media, for this example, I'm sure that you've seen yourself that so many people are successful. Not just the ones with perfect clothes or perfect hair. It's their peopleness that you connect with. And actually, this is like a side note, and you can let me know your thoughts about this on Instagram. Message me, email me about this. But so many creators I love following lately that I just think are so funny, or I love their takes, often they're either like neurospicy in some way, right? Like whether it's an ADHD or sometimes it is people who are on the autism spectrum. And I think part of that is that they are just so themselves, which is so different, right? They are more likely to say the things that they are thinking. On the same note, you know what kind of creators I really love? Are the little old ladies creating the hilarious content on Instagram. And I know why they're doing it. You know why? Because they don't care what people think. They're just like doing it. They just don't care. They're not people pleasing. They're not faking who they are. I mean, it doesn't mean they put everything out there, but they are just genuinely being themselves. And that is so engaging. You connect with people because of their peopleness. It's not about cracking the code on how much to post or what to say perfectly. It's what they're thinking about themselves and how they see themselves that allows them to put themselves out there in a different way. Whether they're thinking something like, I have value to add to the world, or I deserve to take up space, or this is what I do, I'm good at this, or even maybe like they're thinking people are going to love this, people would love to hear about this. Those are the thoughts they're having. They have different thoughts about themselves on social media than I do right now. Like some of my thoughts on social media at the moment are like, oh, what are people going to think about this? Oh, that's the wrong thing to say. Often I'll post something and you'll know, I'm going to expose myself on here. If any of you follow me on Instagram, you might catch me doing this. I will post an Instagram story, which is so like not intense. Like it's not a big deal. It's a 5-second video that, you know, a couple hundred people might see maybe. But I will post something on there. I'll say something and then I immediately have the thought like, nobody cares about this, and I'll delete it. And so that's what I'm thinking about myself on social media, which of course has me showing up differently than those people. Yes, my actions are different, but it starts with what I'm telling myself. Just like how I started with this, right? Like my thoughts about me having a podcast and being a podcaster now are different than back when I started. All of this to say, this is not a social media podcast, but the same is true with thin or healthy people, okay? When I think back to when I wanted to lose weight so bad, and I was following these people on Instagram and Tumblr at the time. I was on like it's not Skinny Talk, that's TikTok now. There was a name for it on Tumblr. Anyway, I was on Tumblr following people who I thought were thin and healthy and I wanted to be like them. And then also on YouTube, started following people on YouTube. I would download their workouts. I would watch their what I eat in a day videos. I would look at their supplements and buy those supplements for myself. And it didn't work. I still didn't create the results they had. I will tell you a clear example of this is when I went high carb, low fat vegan. I was watching what I eat in a day videos constantly, which by the way, they were never doing anything that different. It was pasta and bananas and melons. I don't know. It was like nothing crazy, okay? But I would watch them all the time. And I would try to eat that way, but I didn't lose weight. I didn't create oh my gosh, I'm thin eating 15 bananas a day like they did. One, because my body's different than theirs. I do believe that's part of it. But also I was just not doing exactly what they were doing because I was thinking different things than they were thinking. One of my thoughts about me and weight loss and food was I can't control myself around food. I'm a big eater. I'm always going to eat a lot, which is why I gravitated towards that in the first place. But these people, I imagine, looking back at it now, yes, they were eating vegetables and fruits, which could make it easier to feel satisfied, right? You're like a lot more fiber, less processed sugar or carbs in there, whatever. But they were probably not overeating. They were actually stopping when they had enough food. I wasn't. I didn't create the results they had. At other times, I'd hear about a friend doing intermittent fasting and I would try that. But again, it wouldn't work. I wouldn't be consistent with it because I was focusing on the wrong things, the how of losing weight, the actions they were doing. That's what I would focus in on to try and grasp and see, like, let me do that too. Maybe that's the thing. Instead of trying to figure out what they think about themselves. Because healthy people, thin people, aren't thinking things like, my body's working against me, I'm not good enough to do this, I'm too out of control with food, I love food too much, I can't exercise or it's too hard for me to exercise, I can't trust myself around food, my body is broken and I'm just stuck here. They are not arguing for why they are powerless around food or with their health. They don't think about how they aren't good enough to do it or how they're not good enough to be seen or they aren't good enough to show up. They just think differently about themselves. Like if it was just true that healthy or fit people were just average everyday people like you, and a lot of these people who are on Instagram did lose a lot of weight. They started at a heavier weight and they lost it just like you want to. Maybe they're just like you. Maybe you could do that too. I'm always arguing with one of my friends about this, about exercise. She's like, oh, it's so much easier for you than me. Oh, I could never. And I just know that she could because I started with the same thoughts. I'm like, I'm too tired. I could never do this. I'm not ever consistent. I always quit. And here I am, a fitness freak. No, but I do feel like I've come a long way with my exercise and I love it so much now. And I just know other people could too. I know they could. Or I always have to have a sweet treat at night. There's nothing I can do about that. I understand that one too. I also was eating ice cream every night and now I don't. So I want to challenge you to see the people that you're looking up to, your Fitspo or like people in your life even who are healthier, thin, and you think about them that way. I want you to challenge yourself to see them as just people. Because we are all just people. And if we are all just humans, all people, then we are all capable of making the changes that we want. They don't have something that you don't. They talk to themselves differently. They have different sources of dopamine maybe than you do right now. That's a big one with food is yes, they might be getting different hits of dopamine than you do. They're not getting it from chocolate or late night sweets. They're getting it from something else. They're also willing to fail and try things maybe more than you are right now. But that's not a thing that's different about them. That's just a different thought and a different mentality that they're practicing. One of my one-to-one clients is going through this shift in identity pretty hard right now. It's very uncomfortable, and I'm so proud of her for doing it. It is not easy work, but she is trying a ton of things to figure out her hunger cues and challenge them during the week, which you know is one of our habits for losing weight. If you don't know, grab your free guide with the link in the show notes to learn the 4 habits we use to lose weight. But she is using a lot of different strategies to challenge her hunger cues and listen to them during the week. And it is uncomfortable and scary as heck. We are coaching a lot on it. We're spending a lot of time coaching on thoughts about hunger and her relationship with food. But she is also seeing more success than she ever has with listening to hunger cues. And then as a side effect, also with following her plans. Because she is dealing with cravings and overeating in a new and different way. She is putting herself out there to try something different. I gave her this analogy that I heard from an old episode of the Life Coach School podcast. I think the episode was about busy work versus productive work, or I think like work that creates results. It was really good. All of their stuff is so good. Anyway, but she was talking about how you can be so busy doing the same things or doing things that don't move you any closer to your goal. That's when you're like, I'm so busy all week and I don't feel any different or I haven't seen anything different. And she compared it to running in place versus running down a trail or running down the road. Running in place feels busy. It feels like work, and it is. It is still work, but you're staying in one spot. But when you run down a path, you run down the street, you might take the wrong path. You might go the wrong way. But then you are still closer to finding the right path because now you've run down the wrong trail and you're like, okay, I do have to turn around and go take that other trail. But you know more, you're closer to getting there than you were if you just stayed in place. You can turn down a different path and see where that goes. And that is what this client is doing. She is willing to change some things with her food, wait a little longer for a snack in the afternoon, just to see if she really needs that after lunch snack. She's trying different things and she's learning so much and getting so much closer to understanding her body's hunger signals. Because you do have to do something different to create something different. But it's hard to do when you're arguing for why running in place is the only thing you're capable of or the only thing you know how to do, if that makes sense, right? Like a lot of us are arguing for why we can't do it different. It's hard to lose weight when you keep believing you're too out of control with sweets. It's hard to show up for a workout when you're arguing that your body is working against you anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't show up for a workout either if I was like, well, my body doesn't care. It's working against me anyway. So your work this week is to look at that person who is the picture of health in your eyes. You see them and think, I want that they have the result that I want. Take your eyes off of their plate for a minute, stop watching their What I Eat in a Day videos, and ask instead, how do they talk to themselves about their goals? Or what do they think about themselves and food? Why do they love working out? I am curious about what you come up with. Message me on Instagram or email me at billyrosboskin@gmail.com, or leave a comment if you're listening on Spotify. I would really love to know what you come up with. And if you're ready to see results with your goals, you want to be that person who is running down the path instead of running in place, that is what you'll learn to do in coaching. You'll learn how to be someone who can feel her emotions without needing food to cope. You'll get the tools and strategies to deal with cravings and actually reduce cravings, so it's easier to follow through with your food choices. So if that is something you want to create, sign up for a free session with the link in the show notes of this episode. And until next week, remember, you've totally got this, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye! Thank you for taking time today to listen in. If this helped you at all, be sure to share it with a friend so she can stop feeling stuck and start creating the health and self-love she deserves. Or post it to social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me get the message out. I am so excited to be on this journey with you. Keep showing up for you. You'll get there. Talk to you soon.